Hello and welcome to the Crone Zone. I'm Lynn, and we're starting to look in a little more detail at the pages today. And in considering the court cards, we're on the home run here. These are the last 16 cards that we deal with. So you will need the pages from your deck, please, if you want to annotate your cards. And just a very brief introduction about them from me. And that is that whatever their suit, so whether they're swords, wands, cups, or pentacles, that is air, fire, water, or earth, all pages come under a big umbrella of an earth energy. And if you like, they are air of earth and fire of earth and water of earth and earth of earth. And you can think of them that way. Now, I think this fits in very well with what we were looking at in the last lesson, which was the difference between the aces and the pages. We saw that the ace was an ethereal hand, disembodied energy offering into the energy field, if you like, around us, this potential. And that with the pages, they pick it up. They actually take it into a human hand and begin that process. So they are a beginning, but it's now in human agency. And they are grounding or earthing the ethereal energy of the ace. Another slightly interesting thing about the pages is that in the traditional decks, these cards, we know they represent young people and adolescents, and often they were seen as errand boys who ran messages for the querent or the person questioning the cards, someone in their life who was a lad who ran around for them and I don't know, got their groceries or delivered their messages, or errand boys, if you like, little messengers. And I'd like to pick up on that because I think there is still a function of a messenger that the pages carry for us today, even though, of course, we have far more sophisticated techniques of communication and getting messages to each other. When prompts are to begin new ventures, providing these are brand new ideas coming to you, they have page energy. For example, a work friend of mature years might float the idea of the two of you creating a new company or startup venture. In a reading, this could be represented by the Page of Pentacles. Something an acquaintance says sparks an exciting new idea in your head, something you hadn't thought of before, which excites you and sets you off on a whole new line of thinking. You might be looking at the Page of Swords. You draw the Page of Wands, and the next day an old friend asks if you're in to climb Kilimanjaro. You draw the Page of Cups. It coincides with the news of a birth. So the pages can act as messengers. And we mustn't forget we have the inner child within us, that part of us that is naive and always ready to begin something, which may also be sending us a message. I think the pages have become associated with spies and spying because of their history with these errand boy messengers, really. If you wanted to keep tabs on somebody, you might not want to go and spy on them yourself, but there's this idea that a child would be less noticeable and could maybe bring you back information. I mean, at its most sort of domestic level, it might even be pop up and see what Mrs. Jones is buying for dinner, that kind of thing. So that's quite an amusing take on it. But the Page of Swords, in particular, has an association with spies and spying. So be aware of that if you're involved in any espionage. Other functions that all of the pages share is that they represent students and apprentices in all fields. So that is yet another association that they have. So some general ideas there that are just page, just generic for the pages. But of course, each of them has their individuated function too. So let's take a look at that now. The swords are concerned with the mental realm, with thinking and communication of all sorts, including the internet. The Page of Swords can herald new communication in that sphere. Reversed, it can indicate your internet going down. When we examine this card, we see the page literally has his head in the clouds. And the card is full of movement. I mean, look at the windswept trees, his wind-blown hair, the scudding clouds. There's a real sense of speed here. The birds wheeling above the young man's head portray all the darting ideas which come to his mind. Notice he holds the swords in both hands, but it seems a little heavy for him, and we can't see the whole of the sword. And it may be that for all the quick, perhaps even brilliant mind of the Page of Swords, he doesn't have the whole picture, and the ground beneath his feet doesn't seem solid. The weapon of the Page of Swords is his intellect, and it can cut. Sometimes the card shows up signifying cutting words from a young person, sniping argument, a smart aleck. There can be arrogant, unthought-through assumptions with this card, but there can also be huge idealism too. Air, swords, is the fastest moving element by far. Brilliant ideas can drop, but they can be blown away and dissipate as well. Garnering results from this card can be like trying to catch the wind. It is, though, an excellent card for embarking on any kind of study. I always feel there's a fool energy to the Page of Wands. We meet this page in the middle of an adventure, his travels to a distant land. He stands in an arid but exotic landscape, richly dressed and looking upwards optimistically, and his pose looks stable and confident. Perhaps the page is measuring up his wand, testing its metal. But we get a sense that what he is really looking at isn't what's in front of him, but at the far distant horizon. The pyramids around him suggest magic. Like the Fool, there's a fearlessness to the Page of Wands. He may be naive, but he has faith in himself and trust in the world, and he has will. It's not going to be easy for the page to reach his goals, but there is the sense that he will power on to do so. En route, he must not lose his freedom in their achievement, nor his sense of truth. Like the Fool, he has the feather of truth in his cap, and he must not betray it. So the Page of Wands stands for new creative vision, something which inspires you and makes you feel passionate about it. You may feel confident and fired up by it. There can, though, be a rash sense of being rather too fired up by adventure with this card. So it's prudent to plan details, because Wands can tend to overlook these sometimes in their enthusiasm. The most sensitive and dreamy of the pages is the Page of Cups. He wears the blue of the water element. We can see the water behind him. And there is a coral-like blue protuberance in his headwear. And the remainder of it swathes around him in watery folds. Really is a child of the ocean. And it is that sea of the unconscious behind him that sent forth a form, a fish, into his cup. This is unexpected. This pops up. It's an imaginative creation. And often this page will signify the birth of a new creative project from the imagination. And it can also bear the message of an actual birth as well, especially if it comes up with the Empress. Whatever, the page is very open to what unfolds. He's very unguarded. He could signify psychic intuitions, but he is innocent and naive and could be crushed easily. He might signify the very early, delicate stages of a romance, although the young page at this stage is likely to be in love with love itself rather than an actual person. The danger for this young energy is that it floats away in dreams, or that the hard-headed world causes the delicate dream to evaporate, brutalizes it. But if the artistic creation can be protected, held, and most importantly developed through the maturity of the later court cards in the cup suit, then artistic creations of real beauty and worth can be made. The card is a signifier for performers and artists of all kinds, including actors and singers. The Page of Pentacles stands in the most fertile of landscapes of any of the pages. His clothes, combining red and green, signify creativity and fertility. He really is at home in the setting of nature, and often has a great love for the natural world, its plants and animals. Interestingly, this page holds the suit symbol of the pentacle with more reverence and delicacy than any of the other pages. The star at the centre of the pentacle is very prominent. He seems to know that magic is in matter. He reveres manifestation. Often the page indicates a financial opportunity, a pay rise, or perhaps even a new job. He is all about real opportunities to manifest materially in all areas of the physical world. But we must remember he is an emergent energy. Success will depend on harnessing the focus and planning skills of the other Pentacle court cards to really bring things to fruition. The Page of Pentacles often indicates the wish to acquire skills and crafts. The page can be a budding entrepreneur. His challenge is to keep the initial purity he has and not be dazzled by materialism. Because he is Earth of Earth, is the Earth Pentacle, and all pages are of the Earth, and they're about manifesting an emanation. I think the Page of Pentacles can be, in some ways, the most promising of all the pages to draw if you're trying to start a new venture of some kind. But what I would say is that the suits need each other. So, to launch things, to develop things, you've got to have an idea. Oh, sorry, the wrong page there. That's right. You have to have an idea. You have to think about what you want to do. You have to get that initial thought down. You're going to need confidence and will and push and drive to take it forward. You're also going to need some creativity and sensitivity and feel it emotionally to make it work. And then you're really going to need to acquire the skills, the persistence, plan your time, and do all those earthy things that are going to make it happen. So, all of the pages, whether they're messages or whatever function they're taking for us, they are initial energies. They're just beginnings. And as beginnings and as youthful energy, there's much about them that's lovely. They're full of optimism, hope, enthusiasm, but they can be rash. They can be ignorant and not aware of what they're ignorant of. They can be foolish. What they need is the maturation which comes with the other court cards of their suit. And we'll start looking at those next time with the knights. So I'll say cheerio for now and see you next time. Bye.